YouTube is live. Facebook is going live. So okay. YouTube is live. Facebook is live.
Shalom, DC, with Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and the Commanding General YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true Jews according to the Bible, right. And that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
How do we know that the Bible is actually telling the truth? All we have to do is just look at his actions. Look how the way he treats the Lord's chosen people. Right. That way he treats the rest of the world. Right. The rest of the world are nothing but his cigarette butts to do with as he will. Right. And it's so evident in how the way they treat us. Just look at how the way they treat themselves. You know what I'm saying? Right. Everything that they do, everything that they put their hands to, everything that they set their mind to, they lay waste to it. Everything is about, gain for that individual self, not really gain for themselves as a whole, but they will destroy anybody and anything for their own gain. So, I mean, just look at the big thing that's going on in the world right now. Big thing that's going on in the world right now is what was going on in the stock market. Everybody talking about
GameStop,
getting that GameStop stock, right? Everybody talking about that. What is the big deal about that is that a few hedge fund billionaires are shorting a few stocks, and the way they were doing that is that basically they're essentially putting money against the company so it can go down into the ground, so it can go out of business. They make money. They were supposed to make money as that business goes under. Few people, heard about it. Well, few people heard about it. They got the information out to the masses, and now they come together. And they're actually amassing or helping out that company. And the more that stock rises, the more that company rises, the more the billionaires hedge fund actually lose money from their shorts. So a lot of people are, saying hold the line. The people who actually bought into it are actually have money right now because of that, of everybody coming together to fight, basically this Goliath of a business, this business model. And the more they hold on to it, the more they buy into it, the big businesses, fall. They take bigger and bigger hits, longer and longer hits. They have to have that stock go down in order for them to either even break even or make some money. Right now, they are so far in the hole. People are going to get fired. People are going to lose a lot of their wealth because of this. But their whole concept for this interruption had to do with another business losing their business. That's how they made this business model, is for them to lose their business. And what we're going to go into tonight has something to do with what was going on in Elaine, Arkansas. Now, this is this happened during the Red Summer, and it's possibly the bloodiest massacre, the bloodiest wholesale slaughter of the Lord's chosen people. And during this bloody summer, this bloody summer is the summer of 1919, where throughout the whole nation of America, little pockets were actually being little pockets of America, little pocket where we are predominantly in, have been slaughtered, have been throughout the country. throughout this whole time period, and it was about a 5 to 6 months time period. They called it Red Time. It started roughly in the springtime, and it lasted all the way into the fall, almost into the winter time, where our oppressor just laid waste to us. It wasn't only, just a regular everyday oppressor, but it was government sanctioned slaughter, wholesale slaughter. And we're about to get into one of them tonight, where the U.S. government, the U.S. military was sent in to put down a so-called insurrection. So when I say so-called, we're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the bloodiest things that I had to research, and of course, we had no protection. We had no protection. Why? Because we didn't, for one, look for our real protection. Because if we would have looked for our real protection, none of this would have happened. We wouldn't have been in this situation. So if you can, Barack, get me the first article I sent you, A Forgotten History of America's Worst Racial Massacre.
Can you say that one more time? Also, of the listener.
No, the Forgotten History of America's Worst Racial Massacre.
The PDF, is that a separate?
That's a separate one, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna get into that a little later.
All right, I got you when you're ready.
Yeah, let me get it when you got it.
Oh, okay, got you. There was a tongue twister right there, so like it.
Let me get it when you got it.
That's it. I'm practicing. The Forgotten History of America's Worst Racial Massacre. Hundreds of black citizens were killed in Elaine, Arkansas, a century ago this week.
Now, this happened in September 29th, so it's over 100 years ago that this happened. But I never knew about it. Most people I talked to didn't know about this. A lot of people in that area know about this because they had a memoriam for this event, this massacre that took place. Keep going.
Come. 100 years ago this week, one of the worst episodes of racial violence in American history unfolded in Elaine, Arkansas, a small town on the Mississippi. Details remain difficult to verify. The perpetrators suppressed coverage of the events, and the victims, terrified.
Yeah, so they said details remain difficult to verify. However, what they did verify, or what they thought happened, led to the massacre of us down in this small town in Mississippi. Whatever evidence they had, they sought to totally destroy us over what little evidence. Even though they say they can't really verify what really happened. What did happen? They deemed it necessary to slaughter men, women, and children during this time period. Keep going.
The perpetrators suppressed coverage of the events, and the victims, terrified black families, had no one to turn for help. In fact, local police were complicit in the killing of untold numbers of African Americans.
So the police was supposed to be there to protect and serve. They did protect and serve. They didn't protect and serve us. They protected and served their own kind, their own people. And for one, there was no need to protect their own people, because their own people was the one that was one, the aggressor, and two, they were the mob. They were the mob that enacted this whole thing. It was all them. We had nothing. We didn't want to do anything. We didn't want to have anything to do with them. We came amongst ourselves to talk amongst ourselves to so that we can gain some sort of strength in this nation. Keep going.
Come. The Elaine massacre was among the worst instances of racial violence in American history, and it took place in a region, the Delta, that defined itself by its violence and oppression.
If anybody knows anything about this region, the Delta region is a region down in near Mississippi. The Delta is where the Mississippi River breaks off and it goes off into I want to say the Gulf Coast. That Delta region is where Mississippi, Alabama, and I believe Arkansas is.
Yes.
And in that area, it has some of the that's like called the Deep South.
Mm-hmm.
The Deep South is where historically we have been oppressed to the utmost. You know, that place was even to this day. There are places in that Delta region where the mentalities of Jim Crow era still exist, still prevail,
Right.
even after the civil rights movement, even after desegregation. It's still a mentality of so-called black inferiority, and a lot of our people actually toe that line
Right.
when we live down there. Why? Because our oppressor has the power, and they are not afraid to use that power against us. Skip me down to the next chapter, the next paragraph.
Okay. Elaine sits in Phillips County, on one of the many bends in the Mississippi.
Skip me down to the next one.
Paragraph.
Yeah, the next paragraph.
Come. The town was at the center of a rapidly changing lumber and plantation economy known for harsh working conditions.
So this is this economy right here is a plantation economy. So their mindset is still blacks are subservient to whites in this area, and their cash crops are cotton and lumber. And at this time, we're going to read into it. During this era, cotton was at an all-time high as far as cash crop. When they were harvested and they were sold, this was a time where you made the most for the cotton. However, us being in our condition, us being in our position in life, we weren't reaping the benefits of that cash crop. We're doing all the labor, all the toiling out in the fields in the hot sun, slaving away, trying to make this our oppressor rich. They gave us unfair practices where they basically screwed us. Everything that we tried to do, they tore down. They broke down and they tore down.
Right.
Wouldn't allow us a decent come up, a decent wage, a fair wage. It doesn't even have to be decent, just a fair wage. You know what I'm saying? A fair trade of skill and service to make this economy thrive. They would not allow us to partake in any of that.
Right.
So keep going.
Go. Sharecroppers worked the land for a small share of the crop and were focused to sell their cotton to the landowners, who paid less than market prices. Workers also had to buy food, clothing, household wares, tools, seed, and fertilizer at the plantation commissary.
It's like Baqashyah. Get me Deuteronomy 28.
Go to our press with one all things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I understand.
Just like the scripture says, I wasn't even gonna go there, but the scripture foretold us thousands and thousands of years ago how we are going to be in this land, in our oppression.
Mm-hmm.
So the article just told us how the dynamic of the sharecroppers, which was normally former slaves and descendants of slaves, who was us, the children of Israel, how we were living in that time period. Let me know when you got it.
Come. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So this is Deuteronomy 28 are the blessings and the curses if we were to actually obey the Most High gave us the blessings if we actually obeyed his laws, statutes, and commandments, and he gave us the punishments if we broke those laws, statutes, and punishment and commandments. We're reading one of the punishments that the Most High said that was going to happen to us should we break his law. Keep going.
Right. Which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst.
So whenever we wanted to eat, whenever we wanted to drink, we had to go to our oppressor for anything. Keep going.
And in nakedness.
Whenever we wanted to clothe ourselves, clothe our family, we had to go to our oppressor for any of that stuff. We were actually picking the cotton to make the fabric for the clothes that we were wearing. We had the raw materials, but that wasn't ours. We had to sell it to our oppressor in order to pay off our debt, which was a ruse, like a pyramid scheme. They didn't give us what was a fair value for the things that. But even still, we couldn't take any of that material and manufacture the stuff so that we can clothe ourselves. We couldn't do that. Keep going.
God. And in want of all things.
And want of all things. So this article was saying household wares, the tools, the seed, the fertilizer, and all this stuff that we needed in order to plant these crops or mill this lumber, this timber. We didn't have that stuff. We had to go to our oppressor, and this is what the scripture is saying. Is that all in the scripture?
Pretty much.
All right, that's
the part that you wanted.
And that's it on that scripture. Get me back to the article. So it's saying the scripture says that we had to go to our oppressor for once of every single thing that we needed. Water. You know what I'm saying? We cannot. The body, it's like a 3-3-3 rule. The body cannot survive normally, typically 3 minutes without air. The body cannot survive typically 3 days without water, and then the body cannot survive roughly 3 weeks without food. We need water. We need food in order to survive. We have to go to our oppressor who hates us in order to get that stuff. The Most High told us if we broke his law, statutes, and commandment, this is what's going to happen to us. And this is exactly what's happening to us. What is happening to us back then, and it's still happening to us right now. If anybody says, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are not the true chosen people of God, the true Jews, the true Israelites,
right.
These scriptures is talking exactly about us.
Right.
There is no other people on the face of this planet, past or present, that fits every single scripture in this book, in this record.
Right.
It's us. And if you're trying to deny it, if you're trying to deny it, you're just, what do they say? Denial is not just a river in Egypt. That's the same. Denial is not just a river in Egypt.
Saying, yeah.
Yo, you're delusional. You're delusional. Keep going with the article, Baqashyah.
Which charge exorbitant interest rates.
So they overcharge us. They overcharge us to keep us in poverty, to keep us downtrodden, to keep us in their pocket. They didn't want us to break even. They didn't want us to be able to be self-sufficient and be able to not need them.
Right.
They wanted us to be subservient under their foot, beholden to them. So that we had to come to them for everything. Everything. Keep going.
It was a system intended to keep black people in debt and dependent upon planters.
So basically what they're saying is they wanted us to be slaves to them. In order for us to actually turn a profit or be free, trying to go out and seek some other employment, we had to first pay off our debt. That was their intent. And in order for us to pay off our debt, we'd have to settle our bill. But since we're buying everything from them, they charge over and above the prices in order for us to work this land. We have to buy the seed from them. We have to use their tools. We have to rent their tools from them. Anything the food that was in the plantation, we had to buy it from them. Even though we're working on a farm, it doesn't take that much land mass, especially for a small family. to grow, plant and grow food for themselves, and especially everybody around this area worked and lived on farms. So if I, had, if I was growing 2 or 3, different plants and vegetables, and then my neighbor grew 2 or 3 different plants, and then my other neighbor grew, a certain other plants. We all come together and share alike, so that we get what we need. You know what I'm saying? And that was how the Most High wanted us to be. But the way this is, we're actually at a disadvantage. How you doing? This is Shalom on Christ. We'll get there. We'll get there, man. We'll get there. You need a Bible, brother? Okay. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. Get me back to the article, Baqashyah.
Gotcha. Legal disenfranchisement stripped them of the votes and an ability to share in any benefits of citizenship. But right. World War I.
Well, one second, brother. If you could get me Titus 3 and 10. Titus 3 and 10. Go back up to where workers also had to buy food, bro.
God. Read it.
Yeah.
Workers also had to buy food, clothing, household wares, tools, seed, and fertilizer at plantation commissaries.
Scripture says we're in one of all things. Everything that we needed to work and live on these plantations, we had to go to the plantation owner in order to survive. Keep going.
On the
article.
Which charged exorbitant interest to keep black people in debt and depended upon.
Brother, if you could, Titus 3 and 10.
3 verse 10. A man that is an heretic after the first and second admonition reject.
All right, so it says a man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition, which basically means if a man says, hey, he's gonna help you out, he's gonna you're gonna enter into an agreement together, and he reneges on that agreement, or he backs out, or he doesn't fulfill his end of the contract, even though you're fulfilling your end of the contract. If he does that, and the scripture says if he does it first and after the first and second one, reject him. Don't mess with that dude anymore. That dude is not straight up, and it's not just a person per se, but you can apply it to a group of people. You know what I'm saying? A particular group, or a government, or a nation. If these people say that they're going to give you something, or that you guys come into an agreement on something, just like the Native Americans, came into many treaties, many agreements. The Native Americans held up to every single one of their treaties,
right.
But the U.S. government held up to 0, none of them. Scripture says if they do this once or twice, reject them. Do not mess with them. Do not come into any other agreement with them. Why? Because they're proven to be liars. They're proven to be liars. Brock, if you could get me Luke 11 and 46. Brother, read that one more time, Baqashyah.
Titus 3 verse 10. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject.
So he's saying reject. They're showing you who they are. They're telling you who they are, what kind of person, what kind of government that they are, the spirit that's on them. They're telling you. If they tell you after the first and second time, man, don't deal with them. Don't deal with them. You'll be better off, no matter how much you think that they can help you out. And maybe if you come into an agreement with them, you can outsmart them, by getting as much as you can out of the deal before they, show their true colors. It's don't deal with them at all. You're much better off without them. Whatever they have is not for you. We should be leaning on to the Most High, not anybody else. Barack, when you got that, read it, Baqashyah.
The book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 46. And he said, Woe unto you also, ye lawyers, for ye lay men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers.
So he's telling them that read that one more time, Baqashyah.
Verse 46. And he said, Woe unto you also, ye lawyers, for ye laid men with burdens grievous to be borne.
So he's saying that woe unto these people who laid these burdens to us. They told us we have to, in order for us to live, essentially, we have to buy their stuff. We have to rent their tools. We have to rent their livestock, their animals, their horses, their donkeys, in order to plow the fields and bring back and forth the timber from the field into the town. Woe unto these people who said for us to do this. Keep going.
And ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers.
And they didn't do any of this. They're setting the standard in order for us how to sharecrop, but they didn't do anything. They don't know how it is to be out there, from sun up to sundown in the hot, burning sun, Mississippi sun. Not only is it hot down there, it's humid. If anybody's been around, like the Mississippi, the Gulf Coast area, or down like in Florida or whatnot, man, it is humid as all get out. I've been in, the desert setting like in Las Vegas. It's hot. Temperatures exceed there than it does in like the Mississippi area, the Gulf Coast area. But the dry heat is something different than that moisture heat. That moisture heat, man, it weighs you down. It bogs you down. You feel it. It's like you walking in water. You know what I'm saying? And it's like a steam room. If anybody's been in a steam room, it's like a steam room. But the hot air, it's hot, but you can maneuver. You know what I'm saying? And they both have their differences. But working out in this, this musty, wet climate, picking cotton, you know what I'm saying? And I seen an article, I seen an interview where these 4 or 5 sisters that worked on a plantation, their fathers were sharecroppers. They're old sisters now. Their father was sharecroppers, and they had to help their father, sharecrop. They were sharecropping cotton. These girls, in their, early teens, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, they didn't weigh nothing. You know what I'm saying? Sisters didn't weigh nothing, weighed 100 pounds or whatnot. They had to pick 200 and 300 pounds of cotton every single day in order to make their quota. 2 and 3 times their body weight of cotton. And if anybody knows how much cotton weighs, cotton doesn't weigh anything. You know what I'm saying? It weighs ounces. You got the way the bulbs are. You pick one of that. It weighs ounces. In order for them to pick as much for to get 200 and 300 pounds, you know how long you have to be out in the sun picking that, carrying that, out in the field. You having that, you picking it, you having it on your in a sack. You picking that up, putting it in your sack, and once it gets to a certain weight, you're gonna have to carry that way back into where you stage it, and then go back out and then do it some more every day, day in, day out, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Rain or sun, they're out there picking this cotton. And the scripture says, woe unto them who didn't do any of this stuff, set a standard to have, to pick 200 or 300 pounds of cotton every single day. Every single day. Most likely got something for them. Get me back to the article, Baqashyah.
Come. Legal disfranchisement stripped them of the votes and an ability to share in any benefits of citizenship. But World War I brought changes to the Delta, as it did in northern urban centers.
So just like when I was bringing out, before, World War I is very significant because right before World War I happened, the country was in what we call the Great Depression. 25% unemployment. Families were starving. we had it even worse because our oppressor would just come over to outside of town and take whatever the hell they wanted to take.
Right.
And we had no power to stop them.
Right.
We couldn't call for law because the law wouldn't do anything. If they were to come out there, they wouldn't do anything. We knew who it was that was, oppressing us. We knew exactly who they were, but there was nothing that we could do to stop them. During this time, it was World War I happened. That's when the economy started to boom. The economy came out of the Great Depression because of the war effort. And even with that, we're going to get into that as well. We had black soldiers who went overseas to fight in this war. And we were given a wage that was way more than this sharecropper was giving us. We were sending that money back to our families, and they were actually living better than what we were living out there, breaking our backs doing. And that, I wouldn't say got us into trouble. That the oppressor saw that and didn't like that. The oppressor saw us actually having money to buy food from our oppressor when normally we couldn't buy, certain types of food or with the frequency of buying, some of this food was. They saw that and they hated us. They saw that and they hated us. They wanted to see us subservient. They wanted to see us, with our hand out. They wanted to see us begging and pleading with them for everything. But during this time, it was some sort of a come up, if you will. We had some money in our pockets that our brothers that was over there fighting, sent it back to our families, and they were actually, living pretty decently. And the oppressor saw that, and they hated us for that. Twofold, another thing is, once we actually came back from the war, our mentality was totally different. We wasn't the vest, the black vest that was there, wasn't as subservient as we were before the war. Why? Because we were in a war, even though we were in a war-like theater in the Mississippi Delta. This is where it happened in the Mississippi Delta. We had to fight for our lives. In the war, we were actually given tools to fight for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And there was a warlike mentality that we were in the whole time we was over there. We actually fought. We actually seen our brothers die. We seen other people die. There were instances where we had to kill or be killed, and we wouldn't be held. I wouldn't say held accountable, but we wouldn't be railroaded if we killed to save our life, because they told us to go over there and fight the enemy, right? However, if we was over here and the Klan pulled up on us, and we had weapons, they had weapons, and there was a shootout back and forth, if they shot at us first, and we somehow got some weapons and shot back at them and injured any of them, then we will be held, I won't even say held accountable, we'll be railroaded and said that we had no right to defend ourselves. So over there, when we was actually defending ourselves and defending this nation that did not look out for us, we came back with a certain mentality, said, hey, well, I fought and killed for this country over there, and you allowed me to do that. But once I come back over here, you guys are threatening me and my family, my neighbors, my community, and I'm actually defending myself. That mentality was to the oppressor was like an uppity, mentality. You know what I'm saying? It was an era of know your place, know your role. You ain't supposed to be talking. You ain't supposed to be looking me in my eye. Why are you looking me in my eye? You need to look down at the floor, at the ground when I'm talking to you. Don't talk to me. Don't sass me. Don't do anything. You just do exactly what I say when I say it, how I say it, and that's it. Our mentality when we got back from the war was nothing like that. We knew certain rights that was afforded to us through the Constitution, and we knew that we were supposed to be treated in a certain way that was not happening. So we step two. You know what I'm saying? We step two, and this is one of the times when we step two, and we're going to see the results of it. Did you have a question? No, okay. Barack, let's keep going.
Or the article,
with the article,
the scripture.
With the article.
Come. But World War I brought changes to the Delta, as it did in northern urban centers. Men and women migrated to northern factories or joined the military, creating a labor shortage in the cotton fields and lumber mills. Women received domestic almond checks from men in the military, giving them cash beyond the control of planners. Consequently, plantation owners and lumber mills had to pay higher wages to have the cotton picked or timber milled.
So, just like I was saying, our brothers who was actually over there was getting a wage. They didn't have to really pay for anything, so they sent that whole entire wage, or majority of it, back to their family. Their family wasn't picking cotton or milling lumber in this time. So because they were getting more than what these people were paying them for, so that had to that made them increase the wages so that they can get back to work. Why? Because the more we come together and separate from this society, the more their kingdom falls.
Right.
And they see this is evident. We were not dependent on the mills and the plantations for work. Their production went down, and if their production went down, that means they made less money. So in order for them to try and get more people back into their work, they have to increase the wage, even though it was still far less than what we should have been making. They increased it to try and entice us back into making them rich. Keep going.
God. It's lucky. Even worse, from the planet's perspective, the much feared radical industrial workers of the world, or Wobblies, were rumored to be organizing in the fields and mills.
Brother, if you could give me Zephaniah 2:1 and Barak hold Psalms 91:1.
God.
So basically what they're saying is, so we seen what was going on, right? We seen what was going on. The more our people stopped working there, they increased the wage for us to entice us to come back. So we started organizing to meet a certain level of demand. If there's strength in numbers, so we try to organize so that we can go to our oppressor and tell them, hey, this is what we want, this is how we want it, and if you do not give us this, all these people here, this union that we've organized, we're gonna walk out. We're not gonna deal with you. You got Zephaniah 2:1?
2:1?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together.
Scripture says, gather yourselves together. And he's talking about the children of Israel. And this is exactly what we started to do. Keep going.
Yea, gather together.
So he's saying that twice. Most High is telling us twice, we need to gather ourselves together. There's strength in numbers. The Most High has been telling us from Genesis all the way to Revelations and everything in between that we need to gather together. We need to rely on the Most High, come together and rely only on the Most High. Keep going.
O nation not desired.
Said, O nation not desired. Our nation, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are not desired. How do I know that? Is because how the way they treat us. Our Hispanic babies are still in cages. 2 presidents later, still in cages.
Mm-hmm.
But they can sign an executive order to make mandatory, if you go inside a government facility, you have to wear a mask. That happened, overnight. But you can't release these kids, these babies that are drinking out of toilets, that are locked in cages, sleeping with aluminum foil. You can't write an executive order to release them. What's up? You sent their parents back across the border. Why are you keeping the children? What's up with that? Our nation is not desired. You got any more on that?
Verse 2.
No, all right, we're good on that. Hold on. Give me Psalms 32 and 7. And read what you got. Psalms 91 and 1.
Come. I got the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the mighty, of the Almighty.
All right, so he said, he that dwells in the secret place. You know what? Hold that and keep going on the article. This will make a little more sense when we read more into the article. So right now, it's showing that we're gathering together to try and unite against our oppressor.
Come.
So with that, yeah, read the article, Baqashyah.
Come. The heroism of black soldiers in the war enhanced the struggle for black freedom.
So everything that we've learned in the war, everything that we've experienced, everything that we saw, the triumphs and the failures that happened to us, because we was all in one unit, because everything was still segregated during that time, the 1900s, World War I, early 1900s. We were still segregated, so it was a black only battalion. All the struggles that we've seen, all the horrors that we've seen, even the minor victories that we've seen, we took that and we brought it back to the struggle back home. We all the lessons that we've learned, all the things that we've seen, we've taken all the best of those lessons that we've taken it home to further our struggle. And part of that was to gather together to make form unions amongst ourselves in order to go to our oppressor and demand something of them. Keep going, bro.
God. Causing industrialists and plantation owners to brace themselves for the return of black veterans.
So they knew what was coming. Our oppressor knew what was coming. Keep going.
As racialized violence spread in both northern and southern cities during the Red Summer of 1919.
The reason why they call it Red Summer is because they massacred us throughout the whole country this whole time period.
Right.
Keep going.
Delta planters were paying close attention. The violence occurred not only in the more familiar urban centers of Chicago and Washington, but also in the hinterlands of Omaha, Charleston, South Carolina, Longview, Texas, and in the plantation region of the Arkansas Delta.
So basically what they're saying, it didn't just happen in areas where there were large numbers of us, like in Chicago and DC and New York, where there are large swaths of so-called black people. It's also happening in smaller towns like Elaine, Arkansas. All this stuff, it spread throughout the nation. Why? Because it wasn't just black people from the New Yorks, the Chicagos, the DCs, the Atlantas. It wasn't just from there. We came. If anybody's been anywhere near military, people from all over walks of life go into the military. Whether they come from money or they come from poverty, or they're middle class people. It's all, whether they're the country or they from the big city. They all come together and serve in the military. So it goes to show you that our people came from all walks of life. And they whether it's wearing straw hats with straw coming out their mouth with the overalls, to brothers up in Chicago wearing zoot suits, and big flare hats and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Came from all over the country. So once we left the military, we came back to our respective places, and the plantation, our oppressors knew what was going to happen. They seen the writing on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And this is what was going on. Keep going.
God. Late in the evening of September 30th, black sharecropper families gathered in the Hoop Spur Church near Elaine. They came to discuss membership in an organization called the Progressive Farmers and Household Union, which would help them secure a fair price for the cotton they picked and to buy land.
So basically, just like the brother read earlier, the scripture says, gather yourselves together. Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. There's a reason why the scripture is telling us to gather together. Why? Because all throughout the scriptures, it's telling us we need to gather together and we need to trust in the Most High. We need to follow in the Most High. We got part of that right there. when we gathered ourselves together. So the main key ingredient was we didn't involve the Most High. And because we didn't involve the Most High in this instance, all of our efforts went to hell. And you're about to see what's going on. Keep going.
They aim to hire a lawyer to represent them with the landlords.
So the scripture says, if at all, live peaceably amongst your oppressors. I'm paraphrasing, but he's saying if since we're in oppression, we need to follow their laws and obey their laws, to the utmost if we can, and it's at least live peaceably. The scripture is telling us to do that. This is what their laws is telling us. If in order for you to live peaceably, you need to follow their laws. Their laws say, come together, hire a lawyer, have them talk for you and whatnot, and then come to an agreement that way. This is what their laws and society tells us to do. So we're doing exactly what they're saying to do. You got something, Brock?
Nah, not yet.
All right,
I'm cool.
All right, so we came together in hopes to hire a lawyer to bring our list of demands to our oppressor. Keep going.
God. The 1919 cotton crop was the most profitable in history, and they stood to make a good amount of money.
So our oppressor was making a ton of money, but we wasn't making anything because they jacked up the prices for seed, to rent the tools, to rent the animals, the livestock, to buy food, to buy clothes, because we had to buy everything from them. Their prices was sky high, and the way we made money was the crop that we grew for them, and we sold it to them, but they weren't paying the price that we should have been getting for it. Just like right now, our brothers, Latino brothers and sisters, are out in the fields picking fruit and picking fruits and vegetables, and they're picking them for pennies, for cents, for 10, 20 pounds of tomatoes. They'll get like 50 cents for that. So they have to work all day, and they have to be fast in order to pick this stuff, in order to get a fair wage. Whereas once they sell it to us in the supermarket, in the grocery stores, we're paying $3 for 3 tomatoes. Mm-hmm. When our brothers and sisters have to, they made 50 cents for 10 pounds of that. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy. Keep going, bro.
God. At 11 p.m., a band of white men shot into the church.
At 11 p.m., a band of white men shot into the church. So it says we was in there trying to organize to get better wages, better practices according to their law. According to their law, this ain't what we're trying to do. That's all we're doing. We're just meeting. We're meeting not to take the town by storm like they just did in the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't planning on that. We was planning on hiring a lawyer so that we could talk, discuss things. And this is what they did. Keep going.
God. Black guards returned the fire, killing a white agent of the Missouri Pacific Railroad.
Hold on. Brother, if you could, give me Luke 22 and 36. Brock, give me Psalms 144 and 1. 22 and 36. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get Psalms as well. All right. Brock, get me that first, Baqashyah.
I got the book of Psalms, chapter 144, verse 1, a psalm of David. Blessed be the Lord, my strength.
Hold on. Psalm of David. We all know who King David was, right? David was a man after the Most High's own heart. David was so much after the Most High's own heart that they made songs about him. One of the famous songs in the scripture was, Saul killed his thousands and David killed his 10,000s. He was a man of war. The Most High is a man of war. That's according to scripture. And they said David is a man after the Most High's heart. He wanted to be an extension of the Most High. And it's showing you this extension of the Most High. Read that from the top, Baqashyah.
Come. A Psalm of David. Blessed be the Lord, my strength.
So he's saying, blessed be the Lord is his strength. Keep going.
Which teaches my hands to war.
He teaches him how to fight. Teaches him how to fight and whatnot. Keep going.
And my fingers to fight.
So he teaches war and fight. So it's saying, the scripture says David is a man after the Most High's heart. And he's saying the Most High teaches him how to war, how to fight. Read what you got over here. Luke 22 and 36, Baqashyah.
Then said, Luke 22, verse 36. Then said he unto them, but now.
Hold on. He said, then he said unto them, this is Christ talking. They asked him, the disciples asked him a question, and he's responding to the question. Keep going.
But now, he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip.
So anyone who has money or coins or whatnot, take that money and do this. Keep going.
And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one.
If you ain't got the scripture, Christ is saying this because he knows what his people are going to be up against. He says, if you do not have a weapon, sell your garment, take your garment and sell that, and then go buy a weapon so that you can defend yourself. Not so that you can go out and attack anybody, not so that you can go out and rob anybody, but he's saying this because in the work, or it's just anything, since we're not in our kingdom, we are going to be persecuted. We're going to be attacked, and he wants us to defend ourselves. So scripture is telling us that we need to defend ourselves. If you're able to have a weapon, you should get a weapon legally. It shouldn't be an illegal type deal, something under the table. If you are able legally to have a weapon according to our oppressors' laws, if you can do that, you should do that. If your temperament allows you to have a weapon and not, bust off over some, nonsense, if your temperament is of a calm mind and sound mind, and you can legally own a weapon, you should do that. If you can legally own a weapon and your temperament is, you jump off because someone stepped on your shoe, you should not have a weapon. That you should not do that. Why? Because you're just going to put yourself and others in danger. But if you have a temperament, of a calm mind and whatnot, and you're able to actually have a weapon, scripture says you should have a weapon so that you can defend yourself and your family. That's what these brothers did in that church. These brothers in this article, where they band together so that they can actually talk and discuss what was going on. They knew the situation, the climate of where they were. They were in the Mississippi Delta. It's no friend. It's never been a friend to Black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. They knew the climate, so they came armed. They went there armed, and a lot of them were veterans. They knew how to use the weapons. You know what I'm saying? They came there armed. So go back to the article, Baqashyah.
God.
Read it from at 11 p.m.
God. At 11 p.m., a band of white men. So like, hold on, let's scroll all the way back up. So like, at 11 p.m., a band of white men shot into the church. Black guards returned the fire, killing a white agent of the Missouri Pacific Railroad.
So, black guards, just like I said, they sold their garments and they bought themselves a weapon. They knew, even though they were coming there to talk in peace, they didn't go out and get all riled up and shoot at the oppressor, at the plantation owners. They didn't do that. They returned fire once they were fired upon. And who got killed? It was an agent for the Mississippi Mississippi Pacific Railroad. A lot of times, especially back in those days, they had their own police department, so to speak. They had their own their own law enforcement railroad policemen, and they just like in DC they have the Metro Police. You know that you know really their jurisdiction is really the metro system and the bus system and whatnot around in and around the DMV area. That's exactly what this guy was, the Metro Pacific Railroad, the Missouri Pacific Railroad. He was the law. You know what I'm saying? What was he doing there at this sharecropping event when there was no trouble? All these people were doing was gathering themselves together, just like the scripture said, so that they can actually come to some sort of an agreement because they had to live there. They had to work there. They had to survive. They wanted it just to be treated fairly. So they came together and they were organizing amongst themselves. They weren't organizing to go and have a mob and shoot up the town and whatnot. The oppressor came there and started shooting at them. When they returned fire, one of their people got killed. It doesn't say right here, but once we read later on, it say they killed several people inside the church. Not only did they kill several people inside the church, they burned the church down while people were still in there. We're going to read into that a little later. But this is the people of whom we're trying to come to an agreement on when we're trying to do it their way. Matter of fact, Brock, get me that article. It's not the PDF, the Constitution. The Constitution.
Oh, that's the PDF.
That's the PDF. Yeah, give me that. You can't do it?
No, I got it.
No, because it's two. I think two of them are PDFs.
No, I only got one PDF. The other one's a link.
All right, get me that and go down to page 12.
Page 12 it is.
And read me amendment number 1.
Okay, hold on. Maybe I was different. Okay, hold on. I might got it. All right. Just read the amendment number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
So they can't make any laws to prohibit any religious thing. Keep going.
Or abridging the freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. They can't say you can't say that because they don't like it. They can say whatever they want as long as it's not inciting a riot. Just like the former president of the United States did when he incited a riot at the Capitol and then called for the head of his vice president.
Right.
Crazy. Keep going.
God, Salakia. Where did the PDF just go? Salakia. PDF just disappeared. Or of the press.
Or of the press. The press is basically the media.
Right.
Newspaper, media outlets. Keep going.
Or the right of the people peaceably to assemble.
Or the right of the people to peaceably assemble. All we were doing was we gathered ourselves together, just like the scripture said, and we were peaceable about doing what the Constitution of the United States said to do. The Constitution is essentially the DNA of America right now. And it has been since its inception. It's the DNA. You talk to a so-called patriot and you ask them what is the most important thing of America. They'll say it's the Constitution of the United States of America. And it says if the government, anybody, no one shall impede this right. We gathered ourselves together peaceably. Keep going.
God. And to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Or they're saying you cannot hinder someone who's gathering themselves together, who has a valid grievance against the government, and basically this is essentially what they're doing. They came to our assembly. We have the right to assemble, and we've done this, several times, and not only several, we've done this a bunch of times throughout history, and we had to do it in secret because a mob of white people would come in and shoot the place up. You know what I'm saying? Bring me back to
Slug, if I may.
uh-huh.
On another note, if I may, like this proves, more than like making the scriptures jump off the page on how when the scriptures say, if not him, then who? And then bringing along the fact of, the wicked being in authority. Only a wicked government who knows they are the devil of the earth would sanction a constitutional law to allow the people of that land to form organized militias and this and this and about. Like in the truth, you have an art with a brother. You go, seek counsel, underneath righteous men who understand, law, statutes, commandments. The wickedness that we under, our oppressor knows they're so wicked that they have a ruling system that they know is going to grievance the people, and that just proves more, that this oppressor we under is that the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because once again, any righteous nation, the people is not going to be, against them. The people's not going to be against them. They're not going to form or, give them certain space, room and rope to overthrow their own government, to storm their capital. It just proves more and more again how they're not fit to be in authority. You know what I mean? That's just all I want to say.
You're absolutely right. They're definitely not fit to be in authority. Look at the earth. I remember General Kabal was saying, what kind of people will poison the water? Dumb.
Right.
Who does that? You're poisoning your own water supply.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Right.
I brought it out earlier. You can't. The body normally, under normal circumstances, you cannot really survive without water for 3 days, and you're going to destroy your water supply.
Right.
Who does that? Our oppressor.
Right.
Our oppressor does that. And not only that, they destroyed specifically our water supply. They didn't do it, their water supply, but they destroyed our water supply. This was back in 2015 or something like that? The Flint, Michigan?
That was a while ago.
And it's still undrinkable. It's still undrinkable. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Not only, that Flint, Michigan, that's not the only time that they've done that. You got our Native American brothers and sisters who really does not, aside from the I.S.U.P.K, does not have an advocate to speak out for them. They've been living like this for decades.
Right.
They don't have running water, and a lot of the reservations, they don't have running water, and the ones that do have running water are brown like Flint, Michigan. That's not only on reservations in this government, but in the Canadian government as well.
Right.
They're like, out of sight, out of mind. They, just because they're not in the public eye, doesn't mean that they're not being abused or they're not being oppressed. Because they're being oppressed just like we are. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said, the Flint, Michigan water supply, they've been dealing with this for decades. And because we don't see them, or they're not in the public eye as often as Flint, Michigan is, and Flint, Michigan has gotten worldwide coverage, and the problem is still not fixed. How much worse off are our other brothers and sisters on the reservations? It's just crazy. Bring me back to the article, Baqashyah.
All right.
And you left off at
You talking about the article or the
article,
PDF?
the New York Times article.
Okay, I left off at news.
Yeah.
News of the shooting quickly reached the county seat on Helena. Helena. Soon, word spread that blacks were attacking whites in Elaine.
So they said that we were attacking them. How did we attack them when we were gathered ourselves peaceably? And all we did was defend ourselves. We returned fire. We didn't fire upon anybody. We returned fire. And like I said, it doesn't say it right here, but later on in the article, it's going to tell you that they actually set that church on fire. They killed some people with the shooting, and they set that church on fire while we were still in there. Keep going. So it's spread that we were killing whites. That's a word that got around. Keep going.
By early morning, October 1st, the sheriff sent white veterans from the American Legion posts to suppress what he deemed as insurrection.
So you know them Proud Boys, a lot of them Proud Boys. An article came out saying, I want to say it was something like 1 in 4 of those protesters at the Capitol were military vets. Hold on, now I'm not gonna get that just yet. Just keep that in mind. They went straight to the American Legion. And the American Legion, in order for you to be in the American Legion, you had to be a veteran. So they went to veterans who just came back from war, who had the mentality to kill, and they already see us as inferior. It was nothing for them to go tool up and come after us. It's nothing for them. So keep going.
Calls went out to the governor for federal troops.
So calls went out to the governor for federal. That's the military. So it got out. They got the American Legion, the folks that just got out the military, and now they're calling inactive duty as well.
Telephone lines to Elaine were cut.
They were cut so that we couldn't call out for help.
Throughout the day, at least 1,000 white
vigilantes
came from all over the state and from Mississippi to join plantation owners, their managers, sheriffs, deputies, and the veterans to put down what they called an uprising.
Now, what happened? We were in there organizing to hire a lawyer, come together to hire a lawyer so that we can present our case to them properly, according to their laws. They came to us shooting, and we returned fire, and then they said, this is an uprising. We're killing them. You got something?
So, like, you added on to a point I was about to say, like, I don't know if it's just me, or maybe I'm just being spontaneous, but like when I read that sentence, how first of all, they already called it an uprising and we returned fire, but they called it an uprising. 2, like the article says that, and the veterans to put down, like something you put down is like putting down a dog or putting down something that you consider an animal. Like whoever used that type of term is a term that says that, whoever's fighting against this other enemy or whatever you want to call it, looks at that enemy as a animal. Because maybe it just struck my eye, but as I read it, you know what I'm saying, it says to put down what they called an uprising. It was like putting down an animal or a slave that decided to respond. That's the vibe it is I got from that. You do what I'm saying?
That's exactly right. There's heavy meaning in words, and how the words are used. So yeah, you're right. To put down something that was that should have never have been in their eyes happening.
Right.
We, according to them, and according to, just like I said, according to the DNA of their nation, we are 3/5 of a man still to this day. According to their constitution, that has never been rectified. The Great Compromise has never been rectified. We black men and women are 3/5 of a man, not even a whole human being. I seen something about the sister that was with that devil who got beat to death, and there's no real news coverage about it. There's no one saying anything about it. But when Michael Vick, the story about Michael Vick killing them dogs or he didn't even kill the dogs. You know what I'm saying? His people did. He didn't go and take the dog and drown the dogs. He didn't do any of that. Not one time did he do that. But he got treated like he killed, 1,000 dogs. And he lost his position. He almost lost his career, and he lost his freedom. He went to jail for that. This devil killed a woman. She came because she was not dead. He killed her. She came back, and he didn't even realize she came back. And only people that are talking about it is us, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Those are the only people that are talking about it. I don't even know if I believe he's still on the team. Does anybody know if he's on the team or not?
Ooh.
That devil that choked out the.
Oh, I ain't heard no update on that one.
Exactly. No one's heard anything about it. He beat her, and just to go show you the contrast. What happened with Ray Rice, the former running back? He was totally wrong. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have put his hand on his woman, on his rib. He knocked his rib out, and he was. I wouldn't even say he was at the peak of his career, but he was coming off of some. You know, he still had some gas left in the tank. He got kicked off the team, never got back on. Never got an analyst job. Never was a reporter. Did nothing. We never heard anything else about Ray Rice. This dude beat his woman, choked her to death, and then when she was revived, he was like, "Oh, you're alive," and just kept on going eating. And nothing has happened to him. No news coverage except for us. How is that possible? But yet, when we're gathering ourselves together, you know what I'm saying, they call them the guard, the National Guard. They call them the vets that just got back from war. They call them the sheriffs and the sheriff's deputies and whoever has a gun. Because especially down in the Delta area, the South, everybody's armed. Anybody who has a strap, come on and come get some. We need to put down this so-called uprising. And that's exactly what happened. Keep going.
It was effectively an invasion.
Invasion. They invaded our community. Keep going.
So, like, if I may, to the brother Al-Wadi said, Salagia, sir, Seattle Seahawks let him go.
So they let him go. So they quietly let him go. They let this dude go. Why ain't any front page news?
Right.
What's up with that?
Well, I ain't know about it. So, like,
you ain't know about it?
Nah, not about the Seahawks, bro.
Yeah, well, that's the dude that
So, like, not about him being let go. That's what I meant. I knew about the situation though.
Okay. Yeah. So they let him go. Why isn't charges been filed on him? I want to know if he's gonna get picked back up again. That's what I want to know. Because this dude is a young dude around. He was probably in the league for probably around 2 years. 2 years. He was in his rookie contract. I know that. He hasn't been around long. So if he gets picked back up again,
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
we already know what the deal is. We already know what the deal is. So I'm gonna keep reading. It was effectively, like I said, it was effectively an invasion. By day's end, countless black women, men, and children have been slaughtered. Hold on.
I got some respect.
Get me Deuteronomy. Hold on. Give me Deuteronomy 28. Salakia. Bear with me if you could. Hold on. 1 second, Baqashyah.
Mm-hmm.
Deuteronomy 28 and 50.
You got to 28 and 50.
Hold on. Yeah.
What scripture you looking for?
Deuteronomy 28 and 50.
Deuteronomy 28 and 50. A nation of fierce countenance.
So the nation of the fierce countenance is the face of the nation. Fierce. Keep going.
Which shall not regard the person of the old,
Keep going.
nor shew favor to the young.
So The nation of fierce countenance that doesn't give a damn if you're old or if you're young. They're gonna treat you the exact same way, and it ain't good. We just read in the article that said that they killed men, women, and children. They don't care who you are or how old you are, if you're a woman or not. They were gonna kill you. Barack, give me that article.
So like I'm still sending this to one.
All right.
Get you what article?
What was reading?
It was effectively an invasion. By day's end, countless black women, men, and children had been slaughtered.
Countless black women, men, and children have been slaughtered. What did the children do to you? You know what I'm saying? Right. This is a time during when women were women. What did the women do to you? We're gonna read a little later on. Once this whole thing started off, our oppressors sent their women and children out to another state, another city, while all this atrocity was happening. So if they was protecting their women and children, why do you have to kill our women and children for what? What about you? What kind of a man gets off killing women and children? You can kind of sort of in a twisted way make up a reason to slaughter the men. You can kind of make something up, but to slaughter our women and children, what kind of person are you? What kind of man are you? You know, man, you're a beast. That's what the scripture calls it. They're a beast, beasts of the field. Give me back to that article. Where are you? All right, I see you. Keep going.
The following morning, Governor Charles H. Burrow of Arkansas and a World War I veteran, Colonel Isaac Jennings, personally escorted 583 soldiers, including a machine gun battalion.
So they called in the army now. They called in the army because we gathered together. They fired on us and we returned fire. They called in the National Guard. They called in the sheriff. Anybody who had a weapon in the nearby towns, the surrounding towns. Any upstanding white man who was there who wants to defend their territory, and then they called in soldiers with a machine gun battalion. If you know what a machine gun battalion is you think of a platoon. Platoon is consisted of a bunch of soldiers, and then a battalion is a bunch of platoons in that to make up a battalion. So this whole battalion were nothing but machine gunners, and a rate of fire for a machine gun, it's like thousands of rounds a minute. It can chop trees down. You know what I'm saying? You fire, and if anybody's seen just to show you how fast machine guns actually fire, the rate of fire fires. If anybody's seen like an old war movie or a documentary, when they see like the tracer, it's like a laser that's being fired. It comes out boom, boom, boom like that, or sometimes it goes real fast. That's every fifth round. So it's 4 rounds preceding that, and then that tracer. 4 rounds and then that tracer. So if you're seeing it shoot out, every second, essentially, or faster, it's 4 more rounds. It's times that by 4. That's how much rounds that are actually coming out of a machine gun. So they send a battalion, a few platoons worth of machine gunners to actually lay down this insurrection, so-called insurrection. Talk about overkill. Keep going, Baqashyah.
From Camp Pike in Little Rock, the state capital, to Elaine, Colonel Jenkins sent all of the white women and children to Elaine by train, ordered the immediate disarming of everyone, and authorized the killing of black insurgents who failed to disarm.
They called us insurgents. So if we were coming together peaceably. We didn't do anything to anybody. We're coming together peaceably, and they were killing us.
Right.
And then they called in more people to kill us. Why in the world would I want to relinquish my protection? They went around hunting people, trying to disarm them, and if they didn't disarm them, they would kill them. And there was under strict orders from their leader. Keep going, Baqashyah.
God. Then the real massacre began.
A massacre is a slaughter, is where someone kills something or someone that cannot defend themselves. They took our weapons, and then they really went out and slaughtered us. Keep going.
God. For the next 5 days, Colonel Jenkins and his troops, assisted by vigilantes, hunted black people over a 200-mile radius.
Over a 200-mile radius. Can you believe this? You know that just to show you the significance of a 200-mile radius. From here to Baltimore is 45 miles. From here to Baltimore is 45 miles. So extend that, another 155 miles, and make that a radius, a circle. That's how much they hunted us and killed us. From here to Baltimore, that's about, maybe an hour drive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we consider that a great distance. It's only 45 miles away. 200 miles?
All right.
That's like damn near from here to New York.
Right.
So all the Negroes, all the so-called blacks, from here to New York, was being killed, hunted and killed.
Right.
Because we defended ourselves. We returned fire. We didn't start nothing. What was John say? Don't start no stuff.
No, I was just thinking that's so crazy. I was like, can I say that? Will it relate? That's how he said it.
All we did was defend ourselves, and we were hunted to the hilt. Hold on, get me the.
You got it. What?
Get me Oath of Enlistment.
You want a scripture?
No, Oath of Enlistment, the article I sent you.
Oh, come on.
Oaths of Enlistment, and get me all the way down to the bottom, the last one.
The last oath?
Yeah. Because it tells you the oath that one has to take in order to join the military, and it's changed several times throughout history. And the last one is the time at the time when this happened.
Right. An act of the 13th of May, 1884, reverted to a simpler formulation. I, A.B., do solemnly swear or confirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic.
Foreign or domestic, all enemies of the United States of the Constitution. We just read the first article says that we can any citizen. It actually doesn't even say citizen. Anybody, any person, you don't even have to be a citizen. As long as you're in the United States, you can assemble peaceably. And the government or anybody cannot break that up, right? That's what we're doing, assembling peaceably. They came to hunt us. They came to kill us. We defended ourselves, and we took one of them. He took several of us, burned the place that we were in down to the ground so they can because they couldn't get to us. So they burned it down. Keep going.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
So basically, in other words, these people basically swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States. This whole thing was started because they violated their own laws, their own rules. The DNA to America, they violated their own rules, and then they called it an insurrection, an uprising. They were in violation, not us. We just read what in Titus 3 and 10 when it said if basically I'm paraphrasing, if they break their word 1 or 2 times, do not deal with them. Reject them. They've shown us time and time again who they are, and what they're capable of. Just for time's sake, I'm just gonna let you know that they killed a countless number of us, men, women, and children, over the course of a week. They hunted us. They ransacked our homes. They burned our homes down. Some of us, when this was over, we stayed out in the woods, for 2 or 3 weeks until the federal troops came by. A lot of us, when the federal troops came by, our plan was to surrender to them because they were from outside. They arrested us or killed us. You know what I'm saying? They then charged us. They rounded us up and charged us with starting the riots. They convicted a bunch of people, 12 people, I want to say. They convicted 12 black men for killing 3 people, 3 white men. Later on, it came out that 2 of the people that were killed by the white mob. And we were convicted of killing them. So this is the type of people that we want to try and come together and what Orgy Mike said to come together and be equal with. I don't want to be equal with this type of people. This type of people is proven to us that they are crazed and not they're the wicked of the earth. If just like the brought out, the scripture says, if they're not the devil, they're not the who is?
Right.
Who is? You convict me of killing somebody that you killed? Are you serious?
Right.
And that was upheld. And not only that, in order because they brought this all the way up to the Supreme Court. They brought this all the way up to the Supreme Court. 2 of the justices was involved in this mob. Are you serious? This is the highest court in the land, and 2 of the justices was involved in this mob, and they convicted the men that so-called killed the other 2 white men. After a number of years, they overturned that. Who was wrong? After we spent a number of years in jail, we were terrorized. Our people were killed. Our homes were ransacked. And now you say, oh, you're going to say sorry? That's it? Just let me out of it? Nah. The Most High is going to have to come back and rectify this. The Most High is going to have to come back and rectify this. There's a little bit more. Actually, there's a lot more. I can do a part 2 on this, but I would say this was on par with what happened in Rosewood, and it was on par with what happened with Black Wall Street. With the level of violence and the level of destruction that happened, and everything that is done to us, the atrocities that was done to us, and for them to actually convict us for something that they did, and all we did was gather together peaceably. We followed their laws, and this is the people that Orgy Mike wanted us to come together with.
Right.
No, I don't have anything to do with them. I don't have anything to do with them. You have anything? You got anything before I end the class?
Nah.
Any questions? No? All right, with that, I pass the class to Barack.
Go. Security announcements. We the I.S.U.P.K at 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under Command of Junior YAHANNA. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to share themselves of the word. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, You get to the Treasury Department of Teacher. Priest Fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. The upcoming Holy Convocation, we have the Feast of Purim, which would be February. Salakia. We have the Feast of Purim, which would be the 14th and the 15th day of the 12th month, which is Monday, the 14th of February, and Tuesday, the 15th of February of this year. You can find this in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 through 31. We have the 52nd annual Passover approaching. You want to get that information?
Yeah, 52nd annual Passover is held on the 24th of April, 2021 in Houston, Texas. The entry fee is $200 per person over the age of 17. If you paid for last year's entry fee, get with your camp leader, and that amount, whatever you paid for last year's, will be applied to this year's Passover entry.
Right.
The 22nd of April will be the slaughter of the lambs. If you are in town, we'll be having a slaughter of the lambs. That is an event itself. If you can get down there during that time, I'd advise you to get down there at that time. There will be many events. There'll be many events for the children. Down there's going to be some horseback riding, some other events for the children down there as well. Get your garments together.
That's right.
If you don't have a garment, Captain Kapash Salakia has and as well as other brothers that actually do garments. His is pretty affordable. If you don't have some, you can get with another brother. He has a discount if you order 4 of them. So you can get with Captain Kapasha as well as some other brothers that actually do garments. Time is coming up. If you do not have the money right now, I suggest you just put away some like $20 a week. By the time you Passover comes, you'll have the entry fee. You should be good to go. If you do not have the funds, get with your camp leader. Sooner than later. Get with the camp leader and talk to him about your situation. Also tonight at 9 p.m. every Monday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Black Watch Commanding General Yahanna's radio show will be held. He also comes on during the week, 2 or 3 times, probably more during the week. Tune in, subscribe, and share. If you subscribe, whenever he comes on, you'll get that notification. You won't even have to worry about worry about when it's going to come on.
Right.
It'll come straight to your phone. It'll come straight to your laptop, whatever.
Solid. Remind document our wealthy to check on social media such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If your brother wants to be a troop in the school, you start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband, and a scarf. And with that, I say a margin, which means to stand.